Eric in Oregon. You should be able to hear us now. Eric in Oregon. You are on the line with Jimmy and Promise. How are you, Eric?
I'm good. How are you?
Just peachy. Eric, how old are you? Yeah, I hear you.
I'm 31 years old.
Cool. And are you calling in more on the religious side of the argument or the political side of the argument?
I would say more so on the religious side, but also the political side. I wouldn't say that I'm MAGA. I voted for Trump 2 of the 3 instances I had the availability to do so. But I wouldn't say I'm MAGA. I'm just more of a libertarian conservative. I'm in no way far right.
Which time did you not vote for him? Was that all the way back in 2016?
In 2016, when he was elected, I put Kanye 2020 because since he was elected in 2016, I figured anyone could be elected at that point. I didn't like Hillary Clinton either. I didn't like either candidate. I thought both were horrible choices. I will say everything bad about Trump.
Would you current day prefer Kanye?
What was that?
Would you current day prefer Kanye?
No, I think Kanye is a horrible human being who should not be platformed like this. I mean, he has the legal right to be if it's on like a public platform, but I think Kanye is a horrible person.
Okay.
What makes you like Trump?
Like I said that years ago when he wasn't a psychopath or known to be a psychopath.
Are we on speakerphone or something? Because sometimes our audio is coming back through your phone there.
Yeah, I have a speaker on, so I can put it to my ear.
Mm-hmm. Let's do that.
Is this better for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's much better. So you said that you decided like you wouldn't vote for Kanye now because he's a horrible person. So I assume that means when you decided to vote for Trump, you think Trump is what, a good person?
No, it's not that I think he's a good person. I just think that, well, he's better than Kanye. But that's not really a particularly high bar to hit. I do think Trump,
and he wasn't really running against Kanye,
good for the economy. Well, no, he wasn't.
You said you voted for him because you think he's good for the economy. How do you feel about that now with the tariff situation?
I mean, the tariffs are temporary, and there will come a time where So I would say I don't like the tariffs. I think they're a bad idea. I think it's fine to have tariffs on like China because they are an enemy at this point, and I think that should be pretty obvious.
They're certainly more of an economic enemy now than they were before. Unilateral tariffs is a very basic level economics 101 thing you don't do. And when you say they're temporary, you're already burying the lead, which is that while you can say they can be taken back, the economic position of America is weaker because of them, because there were multiple economic facets where we were, our deals with other countries and our partnership with other countries were absolutely pivotal. And now those countries, Canada, UK, China, and now you're seeing South American countries like Brazil and India, they're all now cutting us out and working with each other and isolating us more, which is making which is a consumer society, more expensive. And that is not temporary.
So I'm not saying there's not long-term issues with it.
Right, because even on a smaller scale, like I had a family member who was getting ready to start a business that she had worked really, really hard on it and had to cancel these really important orders due to the tariffs and has now had to put that business on the back burner and go start working for another company. So a whole small business was going to be started. That's just one example. And now, that may never happen, even if the tariffs are, quote, temporary, because that's changed. So in general, like even the temporary thing has impacted people's lives forever.
Yeah, I mean, obviously history and impacts the future. I mean, slavery, for example, has a huge impact on today's current climate for Black Americans. That I think that's kind of a given. History and choices made by people in power tend to trickle down further down the line. That doesn't mean that anything Kamala Harris would have done would be specifically better. I mean, in some ways, I'm sure she would have done something that would have been better for the country.
Definitely would have. Yeah, definitely would have. I'm not even a Harris enthusiast. Absolutely. What we've already identified is that the tariffs are terrible. And so if she had just maintained status quo economic policy and not done the tariffs, it would have been better. However, she actually was offering other economic incentives. I wonder if you can name 3 of them.
I don't know the name of most policies.
No, you don't have to
know the general
in
sense
summary, what was she
wanted to
offering?
do. Sorry, what was the 3?
In
what she was
summary, what
offering?
kind of economic stimulation was she offering as a vice presidential candidate? Because I find that most of the people who say her policies are bad don't know. Economic policies, go ahead.
Well, mass illegal immigration technically is an economic policy to a degree.
Sure. So this is what you're actually proving my point, is that you don't know what her direct economic positions were. So you're going with a buzzword topic that you also don't understand, because actually right now our country relies on illegal immigrants. Now that's a problem, but they aren't the problem in that scenario. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Our economy absolutely relies on it.
There are some illegal immigrants who are obviously good, but you can't say we have 11 million people who for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that they're bad people. What I'm saying is whether or not they're beneficial to society.
Yes, and you would not have data to point to that shows that they are negative. They commit crimes less than anybody else. They contribute more to our taxes than they take out in benefits.
First off, their first act of coming into the country is a crime in itself.
It's a civil violation. Who gives a fuck? This is like you saying, it's like if you and I are arguing about which neighborhood produces more criminals, and you want to go with, well, they jaywalk, you can actually shut the fuck up.
Well, I'm not talking about jaywalking. I mean, breaking into a country in itself is an illegal action. It's just whether or not you think it's something worth.
So most of them are not doing that.
You also show you don't understand this issue either, because most people who are
both you at the same time.
You are now showing once again that you don't understand another topic. We're skipping over topics you don't understand. This one being how a person becomes a quote unquote illegal immigrant, since nobody's breaking it. Not nobody, but very few people are coming over the border the sort of coyote way that the Republicans want you to believe is happening. Overwhelmingly, they are overstaying their visas. They are overstaying their visas. And by the way, the most financially powerful political entity that is not themselves in the government right now was one of those immigrants that overstayed their visa. So once again, either you do understand because you're like, oh wait, actually I do know that one, or you don't mind using the more dishonest phrasing as you approach that point to try and paint this picture. So now that we've shown you don't even understand the immigration thing, can you name three things that Kamala Harris was offering that would have been an economic incentive for the average voter that would have directly affected them and made their life better? Because so far, Donald Trump's been tamping down on illegal immigration and deporting in mass numbers, and yet everybody is still reporting most people are still reporting their economic power is less, that they are not recovering, that things are not getting better. So can you name 3, since you said definitively Kamala Harris wouldn't be better, can you name 3?
So it's impossible to say whether or not Kamala Harris would have been better without actually being able to see like what would have happened. But you need.
But you just said that she would have been worse. So then why bring her up?
Well, I don't suspect she would have been better. I don't suspect she would have been better.
And so I've been making a case. Based on actual facts, we talked about the tariffs and the things that were going poorly and the things that were policies she wasn't for that are hurting us right now. And again, you're acting like you had a picture to evaluate that she would be worse, and you can't name for me 3 things.
I can't name the title of her policy.
I already told you I don't need it to be the title. I'll tell you. I'll give you one. I don't know the title of it either, but she talked about expanding the child care tax credit from what I think right now is somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 to $6,000, which we already know those tax credits. Historically, those tax credits reduce child poverty dramatically. In fact, when we did a big one like that during COVID, child poverty went down to its lowest levels in decades. There you go. I don't know what the title of the policy was, but there's one. Can you give me 2 more?
So things that I think would be negative for that Kamala Harris said that she would do.
Got it. So you can't.
I will say,
Eric, can you just be honest and say I can't? I can't actually do that because I didn't actually research what her policies were. I don't know economically whether she would be better or not because I don't actually know.
Going to list something.
Go ahead.
I was just going to list something.
You were just saying, well, a thing I think is bad about her, instead of listing what I don't care if it's good or bad, if you can just prove you knew what her policies were.
So she, amongst all the other Democrats who were at the debate when they were still, well, this is during 2020 when Joe Biden and Trump were eventually.
Okay, so her 2020 platform, which wouldn't be the 2024 platform, go ahead. She changed a ton on 20. She wasn't even Medicare for all by the time she went in 2024.
Okay, she ran for 57 days. She didn't really have a platform. She didn't do anything.
Wow, 57 days is a great economic policy. When are we getting to it? This is a lot of preamble.
Do you know how many days she went without doing a single interview? It was more than 30 days?
Actually, I do need a title. I actually do need a title. Will you tell me what the title of the economic policy is that is not doing interviews? Eric. I hope you go back and watch this call. I've muted you for a moment because you've been asked to give an economic policy. You said you were about to list one after you were preambling about something bad for her. You said you were about to list one, you didn't. And so you were like, I'm about to. Okay, go ahead and do it. Then you started talking about in the debates, now no interviews for 57 days or whatever. Could you go ahead? I'm going to unmute you and either tell me the title of the economic policy that includes not doing interviews for 57 days or admit that you don't actually know what she was for, which, by the way, is also her fault. And I'm happy to fault her for it, but you don't get to sit here and go, well, she would have been worse if you don't actually know what she was for. I'm not a Kamala Harris stan. I only voted for her as the lesser of two evils. I'm not going to sit here and tell you she would have been great. At the end of the day, you said you're libertarian, but I think you mean a right-wing libertarian. I'm a libertarian socialist. But I'm not going to sit here and be like she would have been a great president because I don't believe she would have been a great president. She would have been better than Trump, and we would have not been now much faster marching toward authoritarianism like we are. So we can switch to the topic of MAGA being good for women or Christianity being good for women. But I'd like you to first admit you have no idea what her economic policies were. And even if you want to blame her for that, that's fine. Just admit that that's where we are. You're unmuted.
Oh, I didn't know I was muted.
You're probably talking the whole time.
No, I wasn't. I just didn't know I was muted.
I told you were. So but, I don't. You missed it somehow.
I'm sorry. No, it's not the best connection. Sometimes it's kind of hard to hear.
Sure, it's the connection. So can you admit that, and we can move on? Even if you want to blame her, you don't know what her economic policies were.
So I thought I had told you. Because I think I was probably muted at that time. I did say that she had, amongst several other Democrats, and it was more so like a peer pressure, hands up. But she
oh my God, get past the preamble. Tell me what it is.
She said that she would give health care to illegal immigrants, which, I mean,
okay. So you're muted again. You're muted again because I already specified. You do not fucking know a goddamn fucking thing about her economic policy. All you have are your little straw men, are your little whiny guys, be afraid of the brown people. Guess what, Eric? We should give illegal immigrants healthcare. We should give everyone healthcare. If you're on our soil, this doesn't appeal to me at all. But I said, no, give me a person who is here, will understand, will see the benefits of it. And I gave you an example of it because your immigration thing before, you already said the illegal immigration thing. And I already brought out, and yet Donald Trump is deporting them in record numbers, and people are still reporting their economic status is terrible. So just like the caller before wouldn't have been able to talk about women without mentioning trans people, which is an issue he didn't understand either, that I'm glad he gave up because I had no interest in doing that one. You can call on Thursdays when we have a trans person here. You can't actually talk on economic policy. You can't talk about on foreign policy. You can't talk about any significant policy that affects actual individual Americans, tax policy, anything, without just bastardizing immigrants over an issue you don't actually know. A direct economic policy, you will benefit because this policy targets you in the middle class or a poor person or whatever. Clearly, since you were already corrected and instead going to a 2020 debate saying, I would give illegal immigrants. Guess what? A lot of people who are at least progressive, I'm not going to call her a leftist because she isn't, are at least progressive, believe everybody deserves healthcare, including people in prison who are murderers. Everybody deserves healthcare. You deserve healthcare as a human right. So this doesn't appeal to anybody at all. You can't actually show that there's a direct economic downside to it because, again, illegal immigrants pay more into the federal tax system than they take away. So even if some of them are getting free healthcare, they're still paying for the fucking healthcare. Oh my goodness sakes. You're just, Eric, do you want to switch topics, or are you going to be this absolute, I will not actually engage the actual topic in good faith?
I'm trying. You keep muting me. So she would have increased
well, you
the
weren't
deficit
trying so far.
by
I muted you
trillions of
because you weren't
dollars.
trying.
That would have been bad for the economy.
No, because as I just said, because you weren't listening, immigrants put in more money than they take out.
That doesn't mean they don't take out billions of dollars.
As long as they put in billions more, it is a net positive, so you can't even hide behind that. What we actually need to do is reform the situation by which it is not hard for anybody to become a citizen here, or at least have a long-term working visa, or just be allowed here, and give everybody, including you, Eric, health care. But that's a different topic completely. You have proven you don't know a single direct-to-citizen economic incentive that Harris offered, and yet you were confident saying she would be worse.
Can I ask you a question?
Go for it.
So people who are an economic benefit, who are illegal immigrants, I have almost always said that I'm fine with them being here as long as they're not violent. But there are people who are not beneficial to our economic current standpoint, whatever. I don't think that it's right to have people who are not benefiting our country be here if they don't already have the right. I think if you've been here for 20 years and
you still haven't you're not getting any closer to policy or anything, but if they're nonviolent, I don't care what they're here for. For the most part, people are coming to work, and the people that you're calling not economically good is basically their families, the people who make their life more bearable. So again, as a community, because they form communities, the communities are net positives. Otherwise, I do not give a fuck. And even if that means that there's going to be a few people who come in and they're like, oh, I'm going to take advantage of the system and I'm just going to live off of it. And I'm going to live off of their welfare tax dollars over there. The net positive so overwhelms that the idea of getting myopic over what is pennies compared to it is extremely stupid. Now, would you like to switch to whether NEG is good for women? Because I don't think you're doing as well as you think you're doing here.
I'm not saying I'm doing well at all. I mean, you also mute me, though, when I'm trying to talk.
Yes, if you do not have substance, if there is not substance to what you're saying and you're going to be pure preamble, or you're just going to you have yet to engage the topic directly while pretending you were, anybody who tries to escape bad faith or substance will be muted.
I don't generally speak in direct ways. I'm treating this more like it's a normal conversation.
If asked a direct question, respond in a direct way. Have I had any trouble being direct? Like, not at all.
You've been very rude. That's for sure.
Can I ask you
very rude.
I'm good
Eric,
with that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
When it comes to this topic, it's interesting to me how you're dividing people into groups of whether somebody's beneficial or not beneficial. Do you think then, if that's the priority in the US is to have people there that are beneficial to the economy, then should we, as the elderly can no longer help out with the economy and they're just kind of taking everything, should we trade them over for some immigrant that is going to be beneficial? Is that how we're measuring people? It just doesn't. I don't know.
No.
What if they didn't? What about somebody who's disabled, who has never been able to quote, contribute to the economy in the same way that somebody who maybe worked I don't know whatever kind of job. I don't know how to say this the right way, because I don't agree with the general premise. But let's say you have somebody that wasn't able to contribute in the way that you would deem worthy? What do you like? Do they get to be a part of society? Like, where do you draw the
100%.
line? Is it just where they happen to be born that matters so much to you? This is like, this is very interesting to me. I assume you're a Christian because you wanted to talk about that, which we totally can. I'm just wondering how you, I don't know, I couldn't reason this. When I was a Christian, I couldn't categorize people that way because, to me, Jesus was somebody who like gave out free loaves and free fishes and was like not asking people if they contributed to society before he healed them. Now I have a different opinion anyways, but as a Christian, I could not rationalize this. I'm just curious how you rationalize it.
So I'm not talking about how people should be treated by other people. I'm saying how people should be treated by a government. And a government's first duty is to its people.
Right, but I'm curious, like, when I was a Christian, I believed that politicians should also adhere to, I obviously disagree with this, but should adhere to what I thought Jesus wanted. Like, I thought that's what I voted for. I voted for people that I thought were going to act like Jesus because I thought that's what we're all called to do. So if you're in the government, you should be acting like Jesus. So like when I voted, I was voting for people, I couldn't vote for Trump as a Christian because I didn't believe he was acting like Jesus. Because I think that everything's supposed to be a reflection. I was like, everything should be a reflection of God and Jesus and the kingdom of heaven. And, we're supposed to be good examples and witnesses of that. And those around us should be as well. So is it that you want a secular government and you don't want them to act like Jesus? I'm curious.
So I do think that the government in itself should be run as if secular based, but the people within should hold some degree of religious values, because that's kind of like, that's how most of our morality has been formed within our country. And it's Ben Shapiro and Bill Maher were talking a few months ago and talking about how Bill Maher was effectively born on third base for where morals are concerned. For example, you were saying about people like who are physically disabled and they can't really do anything. I think we should take care of those people. They are our people. And I think it is the duty of our country to make sure that they are provided for. I don't think because they can't contribute.
Right. So why do they deserve our help and why do they deserve to be viewed compassionately and not somebody that was born in another country, which they couldn't help, and maybe face circumstances that they also couldn't help, that put them in a position to where they prefer to be somewhere else, where they would have better quality of life, and they're going to contribute. Yeah. Or even if they can't, like if somebody wants to move here and bring a family member with them that's not able to contribute in the ways that you would deem effective, I don't understand why you wouldn't have that same compassionate view and why you wouldn't want to care for them. If we can do this, if we can care for people, why shouldn't we?
So, like, for what you were saying, if someone comes over, I had a friend who came over from Mexico. He was 15. If he had his family come over, he's like 23 now. If he had his family come over after he's being conducive to society, and he works a job, he has a family, he's a very good individual. And if he wants his grandmother to come over, I'm fine with that because in my opinion, he paid his way for his family. But someone who is just coming into the country to live off the government, I'm not saying that's even particularly common. Even if it's 1%, that's not a lot.
It's not even
considering there's millions of people.
Yeah, it's not happening. It's not happening at all. And what we do have is we have immigrants. We have immigrants coming to the U.S. that are
there's 11 million people in 4 years. It's a lot of people
that are contributing to our economy. So I don't understand this argument. No, I have a big lag.
So less than 1% of 11 million people. That means it's not even a million of those people. And guess what the rest of them are doing is contributing to society. It seems to me you think the phrase they paid their dues, but the payment seems to be for having happened to have been born in America. So brave of one to be born here.
No. I was saying if someone comes over from like Mexico, is generally what you're talking about. If they came over, they worked for 10 years, and then they had their mother and father, they wanted to come over here. They paid their dues. They were conducive to society. They were beneficial for our economic standpoint. And
why does somebody have to earn that? Like, do you think, like, genuinely asking you, do you think Jesus? Right. Do you think that Jesus would be like, well, they earned this or they deserve, like, people don't choose to be born. They don't choose the circumstances into which they're born. They don't choose the traumas that they face. They right. And people are doing what they can. Like, that's what people are doing. That's how we're all here. We're all doing what we can.
Eric,
so no, how is it up to you, Eric?
Why do you deserve to be here?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear both of you at the same time.
Why do you deserve to be here?
So I do work, but so
no. Before you started working, you were here. Why do you deserve it? What's that?
I am an American citizen. So I'm an American citizen. I was born here.
How'd you get that? Great, you were born here. So you did nothing to actually deserve the government being on your side. And while you might,
if I go to Mexico, what right do I have to? If I go to another country, what right do I have to force another country to provide for me? So
right now, it'll depend on if that country does. By the way, there are countries that do. We just talked about it on the podcast. Promise.
I'm literally an immigrant.
Traveling abroad and getting their healthcare
I'm literally
benefits.
an immigrant. I'm literally an immigrant in Finland right now. I have my residency here. I'm living here, and I don't have a I haven't established anything yet in any ways that I'm contributing yet. I haven't even taken my language class yet. And yet, if I have a medical issue tomorrow, I can go out and be taken care of, and they're not going to ask me any questions. So, and I've already actually experienced that here and in France, and that was just when I was visiting. So
it's happening all over. Europe happens in Canada, and these are all places where people report feeling more economically secure and happier than us.
Okay, cool.
And we are the richest nation in the world.
If it had it in law, that's another thing.
And we should change the laws right now. The whole thing is that the Republicans don't actually want to get rid of illegal immigrants. They want to be seen doing it, but they do want to maintain exploiting it because we can't quite do slavery again.
I'm pretty sure the fact Democrats in California are exploiting illegal immigrants more than any other place.
No doubt. And you know who's stopping them? You know who is stopping us from being able to federally reform that in a way that prevents that exploitation? Is 100% the Republicans. But I'm not sitting here saying the Democrats are great. They're not doing near fucking enough. And they are absolutely squandering every time they have an opportunity to do something. They fucking suck. But the Republicans are the obstructions for major reform on things that would affect everybody positively. Things like that. Things like universal background checks, which 90% of Americans want. They literally go and do not care what the majority of Americans think would be better.
You mean for firearm
They go with what is better for the bottom line of billionaires. And the gun thing benefits billionaires more. The immigration thing benefits billionaires more. The tariff thing is where you're going to finally start seeing some people breaking because the billionaires are getting less billions. What?
We have there's a background check on anyone who buys a firearm. Doesn't matter how old you are, what state you're in.
I literally just bought a firearm at a gun show. They barely check my.
If they check your ID, they can do a background check on you. And if they don't do a background check and you commit a crime,
at gun shows, it is called the gun show loophole. Eric, if I private sell, if I sell Promise, excuse me, if Promise moves back to Texas tomorrow, she was never in Texas. She moves here tomorrow. She moves in next door, and I sell her my gun. Do I have to do a single thing? Do I have to register the sale? Do I have to do a background check? No, you're so fucking. Jesus Christ,
you are held liable.
You don't know.
You are held liable. She commits a crime if you did not run a background check.
Incorrect. So, Eric, you are literally incorrect.
What do you mean? Look it up.
You think these are, look it up. I've looked it up, Eric. Go fine. If you're going to, by the way, you're the one who invoked look it up. So now you're asking for sources. So you must now provide the source. You must now cite your source on the law that says in Texas, I am liable for what a gun I sold does in a private sale. Go ahead, Eric, give that source. You shouldn't have said look it up because you know you don't fucking have it. You do not know what gun laws in America are like. There is not universal gun background checks except at gun shops. Private sales and gun sales do not require universal background checks. I can give a gun away as a gift, and now all liability for what that gun does is gone because I don't own it. We don't even have a registry. In fact, it is considered illegal, I believe, federally, but in several states, doubled it up. They make it illegal to register firearms. Eric, you could not have shown your ignorance on political issues greater than saying I would be liable, saying I must run a background check, saying I must. You don't have it out, sir. You just said I would be liable. Look it up. You just said look it up.
I live in Oregon where I would be liable.
You are not liable if you sell a gun to somebody else in a private sale, period. Unless they can prove you knew they were a felon. And even then, because of the Second Amendment, you're likely to walk clean. You don't have to do any due diligence to sell a gun, to give away a gun. You do not have to do universal background checks. That's the reason why we're talking about why haven't we passed a universal background check? The amount you don't know about things that you apparently will say look it up on may fill libraries. Jesus Christ, Eric, that was rough. I think I don't know where to go from there, Eric. I don't imagine you jigging yourself out of your hole. We got full lines over here. You have a good day, Eric.
Go look it up. Religion?
Gun laws.
You wanted to talk about that?
Nah, I'm good. We got plenty of people.
I already am looking it up, but okay,
go look up
fine.
The gun laws
and
call back sometime. Go look up the gun laws and call back sometime.
Whatever.
Goodbye, Eric.
I hope
whatever. No, I'm not. We're not. You were there for 30 minutes. That was the most embarrassing ending to a call I can imagine. Jesus fucking Christ. You're going to come to a leftist and lie about gun laws? Jesus fucking Christ. Sorry, did I steal that from you? I didn't mean to.
No, I'm good. I'm here.
I don't want to disappoint
I think my frustration with people that have voted for Trump that would want to defend that is that they don't, like you said, like they don't actually, they've heard these straw men and haven't really looked into what it is that they're forming strong opinions on. I see that going hand in hand with religious beliefs a lot. You and I both know how that goes. And I think there's got to be a correlation there. Obviously there is. It's just frustrating. Like there's no need to pretend like you have a strong opinion against this one side when you don't know the laws, when you don't know what Harris was advocating for, when you can just say, well, I really like Trump and this is why. You should have a good enough reason right there. Like give us something. But if your best answer is, well, I think Harris was going to make it worse, but I have no idea actually what she was saying. Well, then, like, I don't know. We're not going to get anywhere. So, but yeah, we have lines full. Sorry.
I'm pulling up what the Oregon laws are, but I literally brought up in Texas. I want to see if there's anything in Oregon. So basically he was trying to push Oregon laws when I said, if she comes to Texas and does this right now at the federal level, and this is universal background check is at the federal level. In Oregon, there is a background check requirement, which, by the way, would not be surprised if the Supreme Court gets rid of that. But you don't have to go through a dealer. Go on.
This is the problem. You can go to another state where they have different, less strict laws and, go buy a gun at Walmart that day. Or like you can get on... I'm from Georgia. You can get on, or you could back in the day, get on Craigslist and go buy a gun from a neighbor, and who knows who they bought it from and where that came from. So that's the problem with the gun laws in the U.S. I'm here in Finland, which they have really high gun ownership per capita, and yet they don't have mass shootings. It's crazy. It's wild. It's almost like they have regulated gun control and responsible gun ownership.
Yep. Also, you can skip background checks for multiple reasons in Oregon, including if they are related to you, even by marriage. You can loan without any kind of background check if it is for self-defense, hunting, or target shooting. So literally, if you give somebody a gun and you just say like, oh, I gave it to them because they said they were hunting and they kill somebody with it, you're off the hook. So even in Oregon, there are plenty of exceptions people can work around.